It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. I will come right out of the gates today and tell you guys, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you can start your climb, your ascent to over the mountain, through the mountain, whatever it is. I'm a little rattled. I've had a lot of coffee today. I've already been on the road a lot this morning. It's Monday morning. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there. But anyway, it was a week ago where USC, in my opinion, hit rock bottom. And I vented about it here on the podcast that if they did not make a splash higher, that the program could just absolutely be in shambles in years going forward and may never recover. Well, rest assured, after the weekend, the big news over the weekend, the hiring of Lincoln Riley to Los Angeles. I'm wearing the Los Angeles Outkick coverage USC colored shirt today in honor of that big news in college football and in Los Angeles. Even if you're a Trojan hater, I think this is big news. And this once again proves just what a big deal Los Angeles really is and how big of a deal the USC football program is. I applaud the administration at USC for dusting off their pocketbooks, for, making this happen. It is truly special, probably the best hire they've made in recent years. Sarkisian, obviously Clay Helton, they didn't keep Ed Ogeron. He seems to kind of be on a downward spiral after his successful year a couple of years ago at LSU. Lane Kiffin, who just keeps getting great jobs. Every time those guys were hired, it was like, okay, cool. The program's going to go in a good direction, except for maybe the Helton thing. Although when he was given the full-time job after the interim tag, had that removed, he was producing quite well. But anyway, this is just totally different. This is a new start. As much as we all loved Pete Carroll, there's no tie here to that Pete Carroll era. This is a fresh start. This is probably one of the best offensive coaches in the country, definitely one of the best quarterback coaches in the country. So I think this is huge for USC to keep some of that Southern California talent here, especially all those kids that are going to Alabama, to Clemson, going to other parts of the country to play football. Georgia. I mean, there's so much Southern California talent here in this region, especially at the quarterback position. So I think this is a great move by USC. It is unfortunate that Lincoln Riley has to leave a blue blood job like Oklahoma, which is really kind of one of the top, 10 jobs in America, one of the top 10 programs for sure. Very surprising USC was able to get him. But when you look at the big picture of all this, I think Oklahoma's going to the SEC in a couple of years. You don't get to play Texas Tech or Kansas in the SEC. Sure, there's Vanderbilt there, but that I think had something to do with this move by Lincoln Riley. Plus, also you're going to a big market. Los Angeles is very different. We'll see about those taxes he's going to end up paying versus the cost of living in Oklahoma, and I think that's why USC really had to throw the kitchen sink at Lincoln Riley when you add everything up. As far as the top dollar goes, you're going to end up having to pay more because the cost of living in Los Angeles is so atrocious. But anyway, huge news for USC. I'm very happy with the hire. I think it's going to take a year, probably 2 years to get all the pieces together. My point is this: it's hard to be any worse than you are right now. 4-7, I believe the Trojans are. One more game against Cal this weekend. Cal is, I think, bowl eligible, so USC will probably drop that and go to 4-8. So if he goes 5-7 next year, it's a step in the right direction, at least. I know Trojan fans may not want to hear that because it's a very irrational fan base at times, or often, I should say. But Lincoln Riley to USC is just awesome. And when you think about it, USC with Lincoln Riley, Chip Kelly at UCLA, I mean, it's going to be a monopoly on offensive, skills positions and quarterbacks right here in Los Angeles, as it should be with all the talent that is here. So very happy with the move. I didn't think they could make a hire like this. I really didn't. I haven't seen the press conference yet because it hasn't gone off yet. It went off Monday afternoon. I'm recording this Monday afternoon, but kind of red afternoon. But anyway, huge news for USC to make that hire. And I talk about good news in Los Angeles on the football front as far as USC goes. Well, it was rather disappointing Sunday for me in watching a Rams game with my father. Watch the Rams go to Green Bay and play kind of pitiful, quite honestly, after a bye week. Now, look, I'm not delusional in the sense where I think the Rams can well, I think they can beat everyone, but I understand that like the other team has players and coaches too who make millions of dollars. And quite honestly, the Green Bay Packers are probably right now the best team in the NFC. They're at home. Aaron Rodgers looks great. All right. All that said, the Rams, as bad as they played, still only lost by 8, but I was pulling my hair out and just losing my mind with all the little mistakes. I please keep throwing no yard passes. If I see another pass for no yards, not a screen pass, just a pass for no yards, I'm gonna lose my mind. If I see a 1 yard pass on a 3rd and 3, I'm gonna throw something through the window. I wrote down all these frustrations. I tried something different on Sunday while watching the Rams games because I had to kind of keep my cool because of the people I was around. So I was like writing down every bad thing that happened on my little Facebook Rams group that I have. So pardon me if you got all those notifications, but I just, the Rams drive me nuts, man. They just absolutely, the fumbles, the turnovers, 3 turnovers, I think it was, Stafford, the pick 6, just a awful game all around. And there were some bright spots, and I hate to be the guy that is just, my team's the worst case scenario guy, but 3 straight losses now by the Rams after starting 7-1. And it's not just the way they lose. I'm used to losing. I've told you this. I'm a Rams fan. But to get constantly punched in the throat and not do anything about it drives me up the wall. I'll give the Rams this. They shut down the run a little bit from Green Bay, but they couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers. And last year in the playoff game, the Packers just handed the ball off and ran all over the Rams. And that's kind of what happened up in San Francisco a few weeks ago. And Tennessee could do whatever they wanted against the Rams. So 3 straight losses, you kind of have that blueprint now of how to beat the Rams. And this league can humble you real quick. Started 7-1, 1 month later, here we are. Rams are 7-4. I made a prediction, probably a little overly emotional, that the Rams are going to miss the playoffs. Those are my thoughts right now. When you look at the league, San Francisco, don't look now, but they are coming strong. 6-5 now, I think they are, right behind the Rams. They've already beat the Rams once. The Rams have to play Seattle, Arizona, and San Francisco each again. They get a break this weekend playing the Jaguars at home. But I think of those 6 games, the Rams only have, 2 home games. And one is the Jags, which hope to God they can win that game. But after last year losing to the Jets, anything's possible. So the kryptonite has seemed to come out against the Rams. And I know they've lost some great players in Robert Woods and, nobody's quite healthy, but everyone's banged up. It's football. It's the NFL after Thanksgiving, man. There's no excuses. So I think whatever the phrase is, the Rams may have drank too early from the fountain of youth, or I don't know if that's even the phrase. I'm just so frustrated with this team right now that when you look at them, you used to be able to say, here's their identity. Their play action, they run the ball well, and they play action, usually three wide receivers, just kind of flood an area and hit short, medium, or deep. So, and on defense, they were just a great pass rush and really wreaked havoc up front with the best defensive lineman in the game in Aaron Donald. But I just don't know anymore. I don't know what to expect of the Rams. I guess I always technically I expect the worst, I guess. When the Rams go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 30 and they can't get a yard, that I almost laugh at this stuff because I know what's coming. But the Rams couldn't get a yard on 4th down. They couldn't convert 3rd down. The Packers had the ball all game. It seemed like the end of the game, Rams down 11, and they they were like confused. Like they didn't know to get a field goal team unit on the field. They burned 30 seconds. There's a million and one things that I could be venting about that I'm just going to step aside and take a breather because I just don't anymore. I probably care too much. That's the problem. I need to care less and just be happy, be pleasantly surprised. I've expressed this to you guys before. So I will step away from the sports a little bit there with at least the teams I root for in my beloved Rams, and then USC, who's had an awful season. But I think so far as off the field news, USC has won that at least. And the recruiting starts now, and we'll see what happens next year. Winning and competing in the Pac-12, I think, is a much better option again for Lincoln Riley, and better than going up against teams in the SEC. And quite frankly, I do think the Rams would compete in the Pac-12 at this point. I think they do okay. But other than that, I'm not sure. I'm just very, very frustrated with them. And I'm not going to let it ruin my Christmas season. I refuse. And you guys who know me know I'm a huge Christmas guy. I love putting out the Christmas decorations early. We finally got ours up. We actually bought a new tree, fake tree, lights and everything. We're up already. We put it up. We decorated it. And then the lights started flickering. And basically the lights wrapped in the tree were short circuited or something. And so we tried everything, tried every plug, but it was just a bad tree. So we had to I didn't do this. Val did, took all the decorations off. I had to go to work. I wasn't just making her do everything, but I came back home and we decorated the tree again for a second time. So the tree is finally up. Christmas decorations are up. I'm very happy about that. It's the best time of year, unless your football team doesn't know how to play football. Then it's a little frustrating. So anyway, my condolences to the Clark family, Paul Clark, Pete Clark. I know big Oklahoma fans. Sorry to poach your coach, but you know, they did it. The Trojans poached a coach from Oklahoma, but I feel confident that Oklahoma will land a pretty big name here in the next few days. So Boomer Sooner will keep fighting. They'll be just fine down the road. A few things I wanted to do today, kind of a quicker show. I know Tuesdays, again, is just me rambling about sports, current events, news, whatever's going on. I just kind of vent to you guys, if you will, and then try to have a guest on Friday. That's the plan for now. So Tuesdays and Fridays is the format. You've heard my opinions on football there with the Rams and the Trojans. Championship Saturday, this Saturday upcoming, with the Big 12 championship, the Pac-12 championship, the SEC championship. I mean, one of the best Saturdays of the year. And there are some games Friday. I think that Pac-12 game is always on a Friday for some reason. Limited exposure, of course. But you got Iowa and Michigan in the Big 10 championship game. Big win for Michigan, finally beating Ohio State for the first time in almost a decade, or maybe it was a decade. But anyway, let's see here. Who else we got? The Mountain West championship game, Utah State and San Diego State. That should be a good football game. Baylor, Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title, Georgia, Alabama in the SEC title. I think the loser of that game will still get in the college football playoff, but definitely some big implications there. Pitt and Wake Forest in the ACC championship game. What has happened to the ACC? They're both 10-2, but who really cares, right? Cincinnati, Houston, 12-0 against 11-1. I think that's going to be the best football game of the weekend outside of Alabama, Georgia. Houston and Cincinnati. Cincinnati undefeated with a shot to go to the college football playoff. So keep an eye on that game Saturday afternoon. Great weekend of football. And I love the rivalry games from this past weekend, right? Oklahoma State, Michigan, and Ohio State. How good was that Auburn, Alabama game and that finish? Oh man, I'm sorry, Tiger fans, tough loss there. But college football championship Saturday, it gives us a little taste of like what it would be kind of like for college football playoffs if there was a 16-team playoff. I think that's the closest day we get to experiencing something like that. So for me, I really enjoy college football Saturday, or the championship Saturday of college football, the Friday, Saturday, you know what I mean, the weekend, because we get a taste of, man, think this is like the March Madness of college football for one day, with there being a bunch of meaningful games. And I don't, bowl games, they're okay. They're not the same, but these are actual conference championship games and a lot of fun to check out. So football after Thanksgiving is, you can't go wrong really, NFL or college. And it's a beautiful time of year. Indeed. So today, a little bit of sports talk there. I have a few comments on current events, and then I'm going to start something here the next 3 or 4 even weeks. I'm going to give you a Christmas top 10 list. And to get as an example, today I'm going to do my favorite top 10 Christmas movies. Maybe next week I'll do Christmas songs. Another week I'll do top 10 Christmas traditions that either I do or I've heard of. Maybe the top 10 Christmas goodies or foods. I mean, that's kind of what I want to do on the Tuesdays for the next few weeks as a build up to Christmas, to get you guys all fired up, because you certainly know I'm fired up for Christmas. To me, it started last month with the build up to Thanksgiving, but I know not everyone feels that way. So traditions, movies, songs, foods, we're going to go through all that in the next few weeks. But today I have for you my top 10 Christmas movies that I have seen. So there's people, oh, what about this movie? What about that movie? I haven't seen them if they're not on the list. So, but send me yours, guys. I love hearing from you guys. Send me your comments as we build up Christmas here. Send me, tell me I'm dead wrong about something, or send me some of your hidden gems, your favorite traditions or songs or foods or whatever, because this is a great holiday and I'm so excited about it. It helps me embrace kind of the good things in my life. It gives me hope versus my football teams. It gets my mind off of that stuff and makes me truly appreciate everything I have and the things going forward too. It's also a busy time for me. I'm working 6 days a week, and long days. We're delivering, we're picking up. We get all kinds of packages, as I'm sure you guys are well aware, with the busy season, Christmas season and everything. So no sympathy needed. I am out on the road immediately after this. That's kind of why I'm trying to run through this quickly so I can get off to work and start this work week off right, with only Sundays off. You kind of throw everything together real quick. Okay, enough out of me. I got my Christmas list to you guys here shortly. Let me see a few things. Okay, the parade. So the Waukesha Massacre that occurred last week. It happened right after I recorded the Tuesday show. I think it was Sunday, or it was on the weekend. But Daryl Brooks has been arrested and charged for this truly horrific acts of him driving a vehicle into a crowd of people and killing a bunch of innocent people. And it amazes me that you, wherever you stand, again, I try to speak to the masses here and just be like, just look at the different coverage of something that occurred with Daryl Brooks. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. I understand that. All right. But the news media refused to name him throughout this. They were like, I even heard people, oh yeah, the SUV drove through people, and they kept saying it that way. Whereas you would never say that in a shooting. It was never like, oh, the rifle, it shot people. It's like, just say how it was. And that was my other thing, the alleged suspect, Daryl Brooks. You know who it was. I know there's a court of law, and I don't know, the whole coverage of that this week has been swept under the rug, which is disgusting to me, with 6, I think it's now 7 or 8 innocent people dead, including children. And it's just sickening, the true evil in the act itself, but also the coverage, the way in which people choose their words extra careful. No, you don't need to watch your words. The guy's an animal. The guy's an animal, and you kill someone in cold blood like that. Sorry, let's stop We have this addiction in America right now where we really need to I don't know, they're just criminals. We need to understand them. No, we don't. There's too much crime going on, especially here in California. Stores are getting robbed. I mean, it's well, they're poor people. They must need bread. Well, I don't know. There's no bread in those Louis Vuitton purses they're stealing or whatever. Anyway, I'm a little fired up about that stuff, because we have basically made crime okay, made robbery okay. There's no law and order anymore. And this started with the whole defund the police nonsense. We need police. We need law and order. So we have to stop honoring criminals we've made it a lot worse the past year. If you haven't seen, and it's amazing how it's only in some states. Certain states, the crime's a lot worse. And there's something in common with those states. I don't quite know what it is. Maybe you guys can tell me. The other news last week, the Ahmaud Arbery case, a jury convicted the three men who killed Mr. Ahmaud Arbery. And that did appear to me to be a righteous decision based off of the evidence and what we kind of knew about that case. Didn't quite get as much publicity as the Rittenhouse case, which I'm not so sure about, but Ahmaud Arbery again was killed by those three men. Who I want to applaud though is Ahmaud Arbery's father. If you haven't seen this or heard this, check out his speech he gave to the news media. I mean, this is someone who lost his son, and I was blown away by Ahmaud Arbery's dad. I don't want to mess up his name here. He spoke to the media and was basically like, it was such an inspirational speech by him. It was like, we need to love each other. No one should have to go through this. All lives matter. I mean, these are his words. I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. I think the news media probably wanted him to say something else, maybe go another direction. But I was just blown away by Ahmaud Arbery's dad. Let me see if I can get this here. Arbery's father. I don't want to mess up the quote. Anyway, it was very powerful stuff in his speaking out after the verdicts were read in the three. What do you call them? They're not suspects anymore, because once they're convicted, they are criminals. Sorry, I'm rattled today. Anyway, this occurred back, February of 2020. This was quite a while ago. I don't quite know why it takes so long for these cases to go to trial. Maybe I'm just not aware of all of the dotted I's and crossed T's and everything. But it does seem that it takes a while for a jury to not a jury for the legal process sometimes is very drawn out. And I think that's kind of what creates so much drama and emotion. Sometimes it spills out into this stuff. It gets to be a little crazy. Mr. Marcus Arbery, what did he say? Sorry, I don't want to mess up his words. Evidence. Anyway, I'll have you guys look that up, I guess. But feel incredibly sad for Mr. Arbery and the Arbery family to have to go through all that. But anyway, check out his speech he gave after the verdict. I thought it was very well said, talking about, we need to not be, basically, in summing it up, we need to not be in these groups. We're all one people. And I wish we could be that instead of always being divided. It seems like we're so divided on issues and people. I think the media does a really poor job of, they, in their eyes, a good job of dividing us. And we just need to open our eyes and not let that happen as much as I'm sure they would like it, because we got to open our eyes and see that they are definitely not trying to unite us. They are often trying to divide us. Okay, another podcast I have for you guys to definitely check out. I mentioned the Never Quit podcast with former Navy SEALs Marcus Luttrell and his brother Morgan. Marcus, of course, was the lone survivor in the book and the movie that I'm sure everybody has heard of. His brother Morgan, I believe, is going to run for governor in the state of Texas. So they get together every week, along with, I think, Marcus, his wife, and talk to different military personnel just about not quitting and obviously their military experiences and what motivates them. So a really good one. And if you haven't heard the Jocko Willink podcast, I think it's just called Jocko Podcast, check that out. They're longer episodes, but he really knows how to motivate and talk about just being humble, but the pursuit of excellence and how embracing our freedoms, basically. If you haven't heard who Jocko Willink is, look him up. He was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast too. That was a great 3-hour conversation. I encourage you to check that out if you haven't seen that yet. So yeah, a couple things there. And I heard this quote the other day that I thought was hilarious. Matt Walsh, he has his own podcast too. And he said this, he says, allergic to the truth. How many people do you know that are allergic to the truth? I think a lot of people in the media are that way. But allergic to the truth. I heard that phrase and I just laughed because I thought that was excellent. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We ate too much for sure. Had another Thanksgiving on Sunday. Did everyone get their permission slips in to the government for how many people they were allowed to hang out with, and you know, all the requirements and everything? Did everyone? I didn't know where we were supposed to submit those. If it was Fauci's office or whatever, but just a little joke there. Settle down, people. I did not submit a permission slip to gather with my family, as I hope no one else did, or any other crazy things. Let me see. So had a great Thanksgiving, though. Very blessed. Very happy with how it all turned out. One final sports note: in high school sports, the Northview Vikings were victorious over St. Anthony in the Division 10 CIF football championship, 27-20. The second ever CIF championship for the Northview Vikings, the first being in 1987. And ironically, that was the first ever football game I attended, was in 1987. I was 2 years old, about to be 3, but 2 years old, and first CIF championship Northview High ever won. My family, my mom, my dad, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, everyone went to Northview. That's why I bring it up. And that's why we went to that game when I was a little kid. It was at Mount Sac, I believe. But Northview won the championship right around the corner from where I sit now at the new Covina District Field. So I thought I would mention that. Congratulations to the Vikings. The Viking love runs deep in my family. I probably would not have gone to school there. It would have been probably Glendora or Charter Oak, but if I had not gone to Rio Hondo Prep, but still a lot of love for the Northview program. I've watched a lot of Northview football games over the years, back when my cousin was quite a star there in the late 90s, and just really happy for the Vikings that they can finally put a championship banner up that doesn't say something from the 80s. So anyway, congrats to the Vikings on the big win, and good luck in the state playoffs. Okay, I'm kind of short on time today, so I want to get to my top 10 list of Christmas movies. Now, you got to hear me out now. You guys kind of know where I stand on movies. These aren't all comedies. These aren't all family fun entertainment. Some of them you're going to be like, what are you talking about, Matt? How can this be your list? I put them in this order. You may disagree, whatever. It's all good. This is just Matt Hersema's top 10 list of Christmas movies, the ones that I've seen. I'm sure there might be some better ones out there, but I'll go through them in reverse order from number 10 and give you my reasoning for them. Okay. So we're going to do this every week. Top 10 list, a top 10 list of some type of Christmas topic as a build up to Christmas. So let me get right into this right now. Top 10 Christmas movies for me. Number 10, the OG, A Christmas Carol. You know, it's a classic. I like the one with George C. Scott, who also was played Patton in a movie, in the great movie Patton. But I don't know. This is kind of the old school, the one that Christmas Carol. How can you go wrong there? There's been other adaptations of it, the Muppet one and the Disney one, but maybe there could be a new one done here soon. But I think the original from back in the day, it's just, I don't know. I love the Christmas Carol story. The book wasn't as good for me because I'd already seen kind of the cartoons and such, and Charles Dickens was really hard to read, but I love the Christmas Carol story. How basically the lesson is anyone can go from a Scrooge to basically celebrating and loving Christmas like I do. So a come from behind story, if you will, A Christmas Carol, number 10. At number 9, I have White Christmas. Now, for some of you are like, what? I mean, it's a musical. Some of you are like, White Christmas. Wow, Matt. Well, for me, White Christmas was a movie my mother loved. And every single Christmas morning, as we were opening presents, we had the VHS, and she had my dad put White Christmas on, and we always watched White Christmas. We didn't pay that much attention to it as kids because we were ripping apart presents and everything. But that was one of my mom's traditions. She wanted White Christmas on. on Christmas morning. So I like trying to see it at some point every Christmas season because it is a pretty good movie. A couple of veterans come back from World War II and go into show business. Danny Kaye and oh man, how is my mind? Bing Crosby. Hello. They go into show business. The two sisters that they come across is love story. It's Christmas. There's all kinds of great themes and some really good songs and dancing and everything in it too. So for my fellas out there, don't hold it against me. The man card violation. It was one of my mom's favorites. And so that's a big reason it's on my list. We'll have one of my top 10 Christmas movies. All right. At number 8, you guys are going to think I'm nuts. I have Rocky IV. Yes, Rocky IV, the boxing movie. I want to say this. Has there been a bigger win in athletics than in Christmas Day 1987 when Rocky took down Drago? Remember, that fight was on Christmas Day in Rocky IV in the Soviet Union. And there's great parts of that movie, but I mean, think about his kid sitting at home in front of the Christmas tree, jumping up and down, or I think his only son with his buddies or whatever. But all the snow as they're training for the weeks building up to the fight. I mean, I think it's a Christmas movie, an absolute huge victory on Christmas Day. One of the greatest upsets. I know it wasn't the real world, but at the time it was a big deal. US versus Soviet Union. I mean, come on, there's not too many great sporting events on Christmas Day. You got the NBA, but who watches that anymore? There's been some NFL games, some NFL playoff games in the past, but I would argue Rocky IV, an underrated Christmas movie. And let me see, probably the only sports movie I have on this list, but I had to throw it on there. When I remember watching that as a kid, I was like, they're going to fight on Christmas Day. Why would they do that? So Rocky IV, plus one of the best soundtracks, really. I was playing a lot of that soundtrack stuff before the Rio Hondo Prep playoff game against St. Pius. Yes, I know they lost, but the Rocky IV soundtrack is incredible. Hearts on Fire, No Easy Way Out, Eye of the Tiger. Come on, man. Training montage. Oh, you want to get fired up. Rocky IV soundtrack. Can't go wrong. So yes, Rocky IV, number 8 on my Christmas movie list, top 10. At 7, I have Elf. Will Ferrell, who plays his dad in the movie. What is the name? Oh, Newhart. Bob Newhart, I think. Bob Newhart. Anyway, Zoe Deschanel, I think is the love interest. Anyway, good movie, funny movie. For a grown man to grow up amongst elves. It's a good family movie. James Caan is excellent in it. Peter Dinklage. I call him Peter Dinklage because of his what he drinks a lot in Game of Thrones, but he's in the movie as a star or a publisher or something, and that interaction is really funny. So pretty hilarious movie. In Elf, Will Ferrell, he has a sugar addiction and he loves Christmas. The Santa Claus in that movie is really, really good. Central Park, come on, Christmas in New York, can't go wrong there, man. So Elf is a really funny movie that I love seeing on TV. I think I saw it in the theaters during Christmas time, so that was really special. Anyway, Will Ferrell, funny guy, funny Christmas movie. Another really funny Christmas movie is my number 6 entry, The Santa Claus. Not Santa Claus the person, Santa Claus the Claus. The original one. There have been a few sequels, but Tim Allen is hilarious in all of them, really. But the original is awesome. Scott Calvin, same initials as Santa Claus. See him put the weight on and his hair to grow white, and it's really funny. It's a great idea, really. If a normal citizen became Santa Claus based off of a technicality, right? The Rose Such a Glatter company. He accidentally kills Santa or whatever it is. It's a great movie, and it's really funny that he's a lawyer in the film, and Charlie and the stepmom, and it's a great movie. I love when he goes down the chimney, how he kind of doesn't disappear, but he kind of gets all like cartoonish or whatever, and he goes down the chimney. It answers a lot of questions, like how does Santa do all that? And I love the elf fight squad. When Santa gets locked up or whatever, he needs help, and the elf fight squad comes out, and they come break him out and help him save Christmas. So The Santa Claus, very good film. The Snow Globe, Bernard the elf, hilarious. Hey Barabbas, hey Barnaby, it's Bernard. Love that movie. Anyway, that's number 6, The Santa Claus. At number 5, I have Christmas Vacation, Chevy Chase and the Griswolds. Can't go wrong here. I think this movie's probably a little better than the original Vacation, but Christmas Vacation is really cool. Just the concept of all the families coming together and how Clark Griswold wants the perfect Christmas. Well, we all know there's no such thing as a perfect Christmas. No matter how much you plan, what your expectations are, things just naturally fall apart, or there's issues that come up. There is no perfect, but anytime you are together for Christmas with loved ones, it's Christmas. It's special, So very funny stuff. Cousin Eddie, he's hilarious. Clark and his just desire to have the perfect Christmas. The in-laws, I mean, the ending is great, and just the house that is just totally overly done with decorations and lights. Great movie. Love seeing Christmas Vacation every year, and that's why that one is in the top 5 here on my Christmas movie list. At number 4, I have Home Alone. Now, there's been a couple Home Alones. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I thought it held up well as a sequel. When you combine it with the first one, I think you really can appreciate it. But the original Home Alone was just so good. Macaulay Culkin, the family leaves. You kind of wouldn't believe it today because we have cell phones and everything. But of course, the family's on a 12-hour flight to Paris. Of course, he's by himself and there's burglars in the town and everything. It's a great movie. If you look up the history of it, it wasn't supposed to be that big of a deal. Like, it was just supposed to be this, Christmas kid comedy or something, but it blew up and is one of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time. That house. I mean, what did Peter McAllister do for a living to own that big fancy house and take his entire family and extended family even on a big vacation to Paris? I've always wanted to know that question. What did Mr. McAllister do for a living, or Mrs. McAllister? Both of them. I mean, what was the deal? They must have had some big time money, and that's why Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern scouted out that house as the Wet Bandits. And then when they got out of prison and in the second movie went to New York, I will say I will attach Home Alone 2 to Home Alone. Just because they're kind of connected. It's kind of one story, one weird story, but Home Alone, I give the edge to over Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And I'll let Home Alone 2 tag along, but Home Alone, the original. The music, John Williams, my favorite composer, probably one of my favorite all-time musicians or people involved in music. The music in Home Alone is fantastic. Makes you want to eat pizza, makes you want to drink Pepsi. I mean, just everything about it is pretty awesome. The South Bend Shovel Slayer, the old man who, salts the sidewalks and such. So just, makes me want to watch all these movies right now. And I'm sure we will here in the days leading up to Christmas. At number 3, some of you might be like, why is that ahead of Home Alone? I don't know. Maybe just, I don't know. Miracle on 34th Street. Now, there's 2 of these. There was a remake made in the 90s, and then, of course, the original, which is in black and white. I think there was a color. They did remaster it or whatever. I'm putting them together. This is the story itself. Miracle on 34th Street is a really cool story as far as just believing in Christmas, the Christmas spirit, and, of course, believing in Santa Claus. And what an idea. I think it was a book first to have Santa Claus on trial for saying he's Santa Claus. The guy saying the guy's insane. The department stores, I think it's Macy's in the original and Kohl's in the remake. The concept of like, hey, our employees will tell you where you can go get the toys if we don't have it. I mean, it's a really good story. I love the ending in both versions anyway, the little kind of twist. And it makes all of us kind of think about Christmas and believing in Santa and hey, maybe you guys don't. I believe there's a spirit out there, at least, that is Santa Claus. And you know what? I always listen Christmas Eve to the rooftops for those reindeer. So, and Miracle on 34th Street, I think they're both great, the original and the remake. I'm going to put them together as number 3. And that's why I have it so high, because I think both versions of it, you can't go wrong. Number 2, A Christmas Story. Ralphie and the Red Ryder BB gun rifle. You'll shoot your eye out. They do a marathon with it every year. I think it's set in like the 50s, maybe. the old man, the dad and the parents, both of them, even mom and dad, are excellent. It's set in like the Midwest, I think Chicago area, or because he's maybe it's the Packers, Milwaukee, I think, some Midwestern city, because they do talk about the Packers and Bears at some point. But Ralphie wants this BB gun, this Red Ryder action BB gun, and everyone tells him, no, you can't have it. You'll shoot your eye out. And my dad got us those when we were little kids. He didn't buy us real guns or BB guns, and of course supervised, of course, and everything. But that's why that movie is so special, because we actually got those right around that age as kids. It was one of my favorite Christmas gifts, like it was Ralphie's. We saw the movie, and then we got to get the actual toy gun, we'll say, even though it's not really a toy, it's, whatever. So A Christmas Story never gets old. Watch it every year. I can recite the entire movie probably. That there is a tree, fragile, with the box where they open up the major award with the lampshade, just a million and one lines, and I love the Peter Billingsley, I think is the one who narrates, or was he? No, he was the actor, the kid who plays Ralphie. And either way, the narration of older Ralphie in his childhood, I think, is a great art form, and just really, really good. So very awesome stuff there. I can't wait to see that, A Christmas Story. If you haven't seen it, man, I don't know how you've missed it, but one of the best Christmas movies out there. And number one, of course, you guys have heard me say this before, but I have to put it at the top of a list. And that is Die Hard, the original Die Hard 1. There were sequels, but Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, rest in peace, sir. He fell to his death. Spoiler alert, felling 30 floors at Nakatomi Plaza. Terrorists take over this false Nakatomi Plaza Enterprises or something on Christmas Eve. Bruce Willis is just there to see his wife. He's in town for Christmas, and it's got everything, man. It's LA, it's terrorism, it's Christmas, great music, action, comedy. I mean, it's just a great movie, and one of my favorites. Definitely the Hersman Men favorite. We watch it every Christmas. And I had the privilege to work at Fox Studios, which was right next to, that kind of is Fox Plaza now. So I got to every Sunday for a few years go and work for the Fox NFL crew and watch or see the building at least. And so every time I go into work and look up the building, be like, man, this is the Die Hard building. So Die Hard is my number one Christmas movie. Some will argue that's not a Christmas movie. I say it is. And anyone who's seen it and loves Christmas, they would say the same thing. I guarantee you, if you saw that movie, you would have a little bit of Christmas spirit in you. Plus, you'd also love it because they make fun of the media. They make fun of the FBI. There's some a great cast. Was it Clarence Gilliard, I think, is in it. Carl Winslow, who's not Carl Winslow in the movie. He's Reginald Vell Johnson, who plays Sergeant Al Powell, who saved the day at the end. I won't go into any more details, but Bruce Willis is great. Just some great bad guys in the movie, and just an excellent movie that if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. The original Die Hard, set in Los Angeles, in Century City to be exact. Okay, that's my top 10 list of Christmas movies. I hope I didn't offend anybody, or if I did, whatever. It's just my list. It's movies that I've seen and the reasons why I like them. Next week, I am going to bring another Christmas list to you guys, a top 10, if you will. I'm not sure. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, if it's songs, movies, foods. Oh, I just did movies today, traditions. I'll think of something, but can't wait for that. And it's Christmas, man. It's here. I'm excited. It's time to get the Christmas cards going. It's time to get so many different things going in a very short amount of time, because that's just the busiest time of year. And don't blink, because it's going to go fast. And try to enjoy yourselves a time or two by the tree, however you celebrate. Man, I hope it's a good season. It's not just one day or 2 nights type of thing. This Christmas season is alive and well, and we need to appreciate it and embrace it, because it's the end of our calendar year, but to me, almost like the beginning of a new year and a beginning of new hope, all those great things, and plenty of good food and stuff too, which we will get into. All right, fight on, Trojan fans. Great hire from USC, Lincoln Riley, coming to Los Angeles. The LA Rams look to be in bad shape, losing 3 in a row. I am not very confident in the road ahead for them, but it should be an exciting end to the NFL season. College football championship Saturday. So many good games to watch this weekend. And of course, congrats to the Northview Vikings on winning the school's second ever CIF championship. So many of my family members went there over the years. So special to all those who have that degree from the great Northview High in Covina, California. That's it for me, guys. I will be back on Friday with hopefully a guest. Just kind of a quick hitter show today. That's what I want to do on Tuesdays, and almost ran out of time here today. I got to rush off as it is, but thank you for joining me today. I'll be back on Friday with a guest, and next Tuesday we'll do something similar to this. I'll have a top 10 Christmas list. We'll talk sports. I'll break down maybe the Saturday championship games. I didn't even get into the best fight of the year that occurred over the weekend. George Gamboso's taking down Teofimo Lopez. I'll have to talk about that next week. The fight of the year. That's all I can say. That was amazing Saturday night to watch that, for Gambosos to take all four of Teofimo's belts of the lightweight division, the undisputed champ, probably the biggest ever boxing win for an Australian in Gamboso. So congrats to him. That was an incredible fight, man. It started off intense and fierce, and just so much energy, and just it was quite a scene to see. The best fight of the year, in my opinion. If you didn't get a chance to see that, wow, split decision, went down to the wire, and I was just fired up afterwards. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'll be back with you Friday, and I'll be back on following Tuesday with more fun topics like today, guys. So everyone, happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving. And we are officially in the Christmas season, guys. So whatever you got to do to get in the spirit, I hope you do so, and do so early and often. It's the best time of year. I'm excited. Let's have a great Christmas season here the next few weeks, building up to December 25th, the best day of the year. But guys, until then, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe